In the space of just 14 years, Michael Jordan defined himself as a global superstar, an NBA legend who transcended basketball and became a pop culture icon. The 80s and 90s were a never-ending highlight reel for Jordan and the Bulls, but since 1998, he's largely been off our screens, until now. The Last Dance is a new 10-part documentary series chronicling his final season in Chicago and a seemingly implausible sixth NBA title.
He had the looks, he had the charisma, he was well-spoken, he was intelligent, and he was probably the most captivating performer in the history of the NBA.
Jordan agreed to let the cameras behind the scenes for that dramatic 97-98 season, but the tapes have been under lock and key ever since.
It had been kind of production lore, urban legend. I watched 2 or 3 hours of it and was blown away. So once I found out I had the gig, it was a dream job.
The drama unfolds over 10 episodes, 10 hours in all, revealing one of the world's most famous athletes in some of his more candid moments. It's a chance for younger fans to get to know him, an opportunity for those who lived it to be reminded of the legend.
Michael and I came to Chicago in 1984. I was a couple of months ahead of him. So I was able to see him from the very beginning with the Bulls, and what a huge circus it was. Don, I'd have to say that covering those 6 Bulls championships was probably the highlight of my career here in Chicago.
It was an era of great change in the worlds of sport and business, and a time before we were all so obsessed with the internet and social media.
I was at a charity event for the Bulls back in the day. I was sitting in the bar having a beer, and Michael walked in, sat down next to me. We talked for about 20 minutes about golf and about basketball and just shot the breeze. And when you think back on that moment today, it's impossible to imagine that would happen in the current climate. It just wouldn't happen that way.
With a supporting cast of characters like Scottie Pippen, the irrepressible Dennis Rodman, and the current Warriors coach Steve Kerr, Jordan delivers a final title seemingly against all the odds.
To go back to these series and to see how close they were to everything falling apart, and for him to put that team on his back time and time again, by the end of that 98 series, people are either physically or mentally checked out, and Michael has to carry the team once again. If you wrote the ending to that series, and if you wrote episode 10 in the script, you'd be laughed out of a Hollywood office because it's so corny. But it actually came true, and who better to orchestrate that than Michael Jordan himself?
Don Riddell, CNN.